We're doing Skyping for Ben Carson. Tom, what would you like to share with us about your pick for the presidential election?
Well, first of all, being a registered Republican, I'm gonna give my vote to Dr. Ben Carson for the nomination, and I say that because I believe the guy's an honest guy. I believe he's loyal to his people, his family. And he's also loyal to. I think he's gonna be very loyal to the country. And although a lot of people say they critique him for being soft-spoken, like the old cliche says, like the old cliche goes, actions speak louder than words, and that's why right now I'm leaning towards Dr. Carson as my vote.
And there's another one too: walk softly and carry a big stick.
That's correct.
So, walking softly, speaking softly, I think that kind of goes together there too. Well, I have no problems with Ben Carson speaking the way that he does. I actually have a problem with Donald Trump talking the way he is, and that's the comparison there that we're making. Looking back in history, we have John F. Kennedy, who was not a loudspeaker. He just came across with the facts and said what he had to. Also, Ronald Reagan was the same way, and Ben Carson likes to point out that Abraham Lincoln was soft spoken, and these were three of our greatest presidents. So I believe that Ben Carson will be the greatest president of our lifetime, and so don't have any problem with that. Um, Now, have you checked out any of the other candidates at all?
Yes, like I said, I'm a registered Republican. So if for some reason Dr. Carson doesn't get the nomination, I'm probably going to go with Ted Cruz. And I like Ted Cruz because for a couple of things. First of all, he's against the Common Core math, which to me is just preposterous. I mean, in our generation we were taught that two times two is four, and this Common Core math to me, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it sounds to me it's some kind of government, brainwashing technique, or some kind of education they're trying to instill in the future generations that don't make sense to me. So he's against Common Core math. So am I, and also um, Ted Cruz is from Texas, and he's also believes in Second Amendment rights, which means the right to gun ownership, which I'm strongly a proponent of gun ownership, because most people who have nearly all people who are registered gun owners are not the people who are going out and committing crimes and robbing people. Those people are, the people that are ex-cons, felons. Your average guy like you or me or a woman who is paying their bills and working, doing the right thing. If they want to have a gun to protect themselves, I say go for it. And
Well, I like everybody above Donald Trump, except for the Democrats. But the way things are going is that it seems like Fox News and the other organizations are trying to shut out Ben Carson, not letting him get his message out there. They're putting him on there just a little bit, but basically nothing. Whenever you turn the TV on, all you hear is rump, 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 rump. So that gets very tiring. They're pushing that agenda. They're trying to pick a candidate. So I have spoken to people that support Ben Carson and asked them if Trump becomes the nominee, if they will consider writing in Ben Carson when the time comes in the general election. And I'm hearing nothing but yes. So would you consider writing in Ben Carson should he go to the general election as a write-in candidate if Trump would get the nomination?
definitely. And another thing about Ben Carson, I like it. Ben Carson, I did some research on him, and I found out that he's pretty much a self-made man. Donald Trump, of course, on the other hand, the guy was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He inherited millions of dollars from his father to help get started. But on the other hand, Dr. Carson was raised in a single-family household, and he's a perfect picture example of how to pull yourself up from the bootstraps, and not make no excuses for yourself and be successful. Because like I said, Mr. Carson is a self-made man, so I would definitely do whatever it takes, within all legal parameters to make sure he's elected president.
Yes, well, Ben Carson's done many great things. He has the Carson Scholarship Fund, and also in the neighborhoods where the money's not so prevalent and libraries aren't there, he has a reading room that he puts in for kids that just don't have the resources. So he's working very hard on the education. Another thing that I like about Ben Carson is what kind of man is a neurosurgeon that keeps in touch with his patients 20 years later and is actually concerned about what's going on with them and how their life is going, if they're having any kind of problems. That just shows incredible integrity of this man, of the kind of person he is. So these are some great things. Right now, I would like to say to the people of Iowa that the country is looking at what is happening, and also the world is looking at Iowa now to see what happens in this election. This is one of the I mean, they say it every time that election comes up. This is like the biggest election, but in my eyes, actually, I don't see any bigger election that's going on than right now. This is going to be whether our country goes down or whether it comes back up. If it, goes to people that aren't doing correct things, I hear people talking revolution. I really don't want to think so much about that, but if they keep going in the direction that we have been going, there is going to have to be some major changes. I've spoken to people that aren't afraid to pick up their arms and do what's right for our country. Some people talk about revolution, and they're out there and they're in the streets and they're making a lot of noise and everything. And I can tell you, there's another group of people that are out there that are home cleaning and shining their guns and stockpiling their ammunition. So if these other people think that they're going to take over this country, they're in for a big surprise, and that goes from any elected officials too. And I would rather go down a road that we elect Ben Carson, who wants to unite the community, and that we can be on a path that we are respected once again in the world, and that we are the world leader, and that we lead by strength, that we don't have to be involved in all the different conflicts. We may have to go to different areas, and especially with ISIS, we'll have to go to the Middle East and fight things there, which Ben Carson, if nothing else, has been working to preserve life. So whatever kind of choices he makes will be decisions that will be well thought out, with the casualties that will be happening in mind. I'm sure that will happen. And I just don't find any better man or woman at this point in time to be leading our country. So your feelings about that?
Exactly. I agree with you. And like I said, also in regards to Dr. Carson, this country right now, we're in a massive, massive state of transition with ISIS. Myself, I'm a military member, so I'm not going to divulge any top secret information. But obviously, the average person knows ISIS is a big threat, and they're growing. China is the second largest economy in the world, and although we're still about 15, 20 years ahead of China technology-wise, the gap is closing. So right now, this is a very, very pivotal period in our nation's history, because with the Chinese, becoming bigger and bigger of a threat, with ISIS growing possibly out of control in the Middle East, and because obviously they're in the Middle East, they want the oil, and whoever has the oil has the money, has the power. So we definitely need a strong leader, but we also need a very rational leader. I believe Mr. Trump is the guy, for quote unquote, is full of smoke. He's very impulsive and irrational. But on the other hand, Dr. Carson, not only does he have the intelligence, he's a very rational person, and he's the kind of person that will take advice from his cabinet, and he's not going to yell and scream and say my way or highway. So he's going to look out for the country and for the American people, and in turn look out for the world, because like I said, right now the world's in a massive state of transition. ISIS, China, and unfortunately Russia is starting to make some noise again. So the United States needs a very, very, very powerful man at this time of transition. I believe Dr. Carson can do it. I know he will do it.
Well, I'm not sure if you saw, you brought up a couple things. There's a great video out on Ben Carson talking about at the NRA. It is exceptional. He definitely supports the Second Amendment. Also, when it comes to education, he's already a leader out there pushing it, and he knows about the importance of education, because that's the way he pulled himself out of poverty, and that is just an amazing story in itself. And Ben Carson knows what it's like to be poor, middle class, and rich. So he knows all the different segments. He's lived it. He knows how to change that, and he wants to change it. And he's someone that really takes these things to heart. He's not someone just out there talking. He's actually living it. So in my heart just is just full for Ben Carson. There isn't anything that I wouldn't try to do to have Ben Carson elected. We need him that badly. We don't need to make a mistake. We need to get this right. We need to elect the right president at this point in time. We can't keep going down this road. I spoke to someone else and they said that they could, well, I could handle 4 years of Trump, but actually he has a tax plan that's actually going to drive us deeper into debt. With Trump, I remember that he has had multiple bankruptcies, and I'm sure that he told the people when they were coming in, "It's going to be great. It's going to be great." But we found out that he cared less about those investors, and he cared less about claiming bankruptcy and taking the taxpayers' dollars. He said it was business as usual, and everybody else was doing it. He's also involved with the elected officials, where he's giving them money for their campaigns and whatnot, and so he's already playing the political game with them. And the amazing part to me for the Trump supporters is that everything that they hate about our government, Donald Trump has already wound up doing. So, he was a Democrat. He switched over to a Republican. So he's like flip flopping on that. His issues that he had before, he's changed his mind. And he has no real plans. He just keeps saying it's going to be great. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But, just there's no real history of him doing that. With Ben Carson, as I mentioned, he has these different funds, and the Carson Scholarship Fund, which I've donated to, and I recommend other people to do that as well. But he's had these different things that he's done in life to help people. I don't know anything that Donald Trump has done in the past to help people, and his record seems to be all about Donald. So, and Ben Carson's about his fellow man. That's the big difference there. We need somebody that actually cares about the people and wants to do something for the people to better them, we the people, and our country. Okay, so anything else that you would like to share?
Just a few closing comments. Like I said, I'll start out with Mr. Trump. Like I said, Donald Trump, I think, is all wrong for this country. He's a self-serving businessman, and now if he becomes a president, he'll become a self-serving politician. He's hypocritical. He's shown that many times in his lifetime. He went, here was a guy. He went to a prestigious high school, prep military school, and you would think he would go right into the military, but the guy, he had college deferments, and the guy is very wishy-washy, very fickle, and if he's elected, which I hope he isn't, he's going to show his true colors very quickly. But on the other hand, with Dr. Carson, like I said, he's loyal to the country, and I believe he's very calm. He's very rational. And with the way this world's going, we need a leader who is, obviously has the intelligence, the wherewithal, but also somebody who isn't impulsive. Because nowadays, unfortunately, with the weapons we have now, weapons of mass destruction, they're all over the world. We can't have somebody like Donald Trump yelling, screaming, and provoking somebody, and we could have World War III within seconds. If you have Dr. Carson, the man's has superior intelligence, and at the same time, he's very cool and rational. And my closing comment with Dr. Carson is, like I said in the beginning of the interview, actually you said, speak softly but carry a big stick, which means actions speak louder than the words.
Yes, well, you had brought up Donald Trump and the way that he acts, and I've seen the debates. And in the debates, he likes to chime in and interject into everything. So if he was in Congress and they were dealing with a serious issue, he wouldn't be able to control himself from what I've seen to sit there and listen. So he would not be able to listen. He would have to, be interjecting all the time. And then with Ben Carson is willing to listen. So that's a big difference between them. And just it's the difference between Ben Carson and Donald Trump is night and day. I will say that some of the things that people are concerned about the terrorism and the way Ben Carson will handle that. Actually, he is strong on that. He said that a long time ago before the media had taken and twisted everything up that he had said. So the media had really tried to smear him. And when they couldn't smear him any longer, they wound up uh, blackballing him, where they just weren't giving him any kind of airtime, and
Exactly.
that's a shame, because Ben Carson has a message that needs to go out, and he had actually some staffers and everything that weren't really helping him out as well. Now he says he has his webpage out there, and if you need to see any of the kind of stuff, you can check out Scott Collier on Facebook, and also see me on DUNDALKTV YouTube. And thank you very much, Tom, for the interview. It's been great seeing you and talking to you again, and we'll have to get together again sometime soon. And everybody out there, if you see a video that you like, or a post on social media, share that. The more that we share stuff about Ben Carson, the more we get the word out there, and the stronger things will be heading into the elections. Thanks again, Tom. Anybody wants to get in touch with me, dundalktv@gmail.com. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Go Ben. 2016.
Absolutely.